Picture this. You wake up one morning in Tehran, ready to check your finances, only to find that more than 90 million United States dollars worth of digital assets have simply vanished into thin air. But this was not a normal theft, nor a technical glitch. Instead, these assets, comprised of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Ripple, Solana, Tron, Toncoin, and more, were deliberately and methodically destroyed. For over 11 million Iranians who trusted Nobitex, the country's largest crypto exchange, this was not just a personal loss. It was a seismic event that marked a new era in digital warfare. The story begins in the context of escalating tensions between Iran and Israel. Only days before the attack, Israeli airstrikes had targeted Iran's nuclear facilities, an act that reignited the already simmering animosity between the two nations. Enter Gonjeshka Durande, known in English as Predatory Sparrow, a pro-Israel hacker collective with a reputation for precise, politically motivated cyber attacks. These hackers breached Nobitex's defenses and, rather than making off with the loot, chose a more symbolic and devastating path. They burned the stolen crypto, sending it to vanity blockchain addresses with no retrievable private keys. These were not random strings. The addresses themselves contained pointed anti-Iranian regime messages, some directly insulting the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC. It was a digital pyre, a public demonstration that this attack was about power, humiliation, and deterrence, not profit. To fully understand why this matters, we need to zoom out and examine the shadowy landscape of cyber warfare between Iran and Israel. Over the past decade and a half, these two nations have transformed their rivalry from traditional battlefields to digital front lines. The infamous Stuxnet worm, unleashed in the year 2010, became a watershed moment. This malicious code, widely attributed to a joint American and Israeli operation, secretly sabotaged Iran's uranium enrichment centrifuges, setting back their nuclear ambitions by years. Since then, the digital tit-for-tat has only intensified. Predatory Sparrow, the group behind the Nobitex attack, is not new to this game. In recent years, they have orchestrated cyber operations that brought Iranian steel mills to a standstill, disrupted gasoline distribution nationwide, and even targeted transportation infrastructure. Each incident has been carefully timed and meticulously executed, often in direct response to Iranian actions in the region, be it support for groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, or alleged attacks on Israeli interests. Iran, in turn, has not been silent. Its own cyber units have launched attacks on Israeli water utilities, attempted to compromise critical infrastructure, and have sought to infiltrate financial networks. With every new digital strike, the lines between peace and conflict, civilian and combatant, become increasingly blurred. But why target Nobitex specifically? The answer lies in the intersection between economics and geopolitics. For years, Iran has been under crushing international sanctions, which have cut off its citizens and institutions from the global financial system. In this environment, cryptocurrency became more than just a speculative asset, it was a lifeline. Nobitex, by all accounts, served as the country's de facto gateway to the global crypto markets. It processed the vast majority of Iran's on-chain transactions, enabling not only ordinary people but also entities linked to the government, the IRGC, and even sanctioned groups to move funds beyond the reach of regulators and watchdogs. This role made Nobitex both a symbol and a strategic asset. By breaching and then burning the exchange's digital holdings, the attackers aimed to send a dual message. To Iran, a warning that its attempts to skirt sanctions would have consequences. To ordinary users, a reminder of their vulnerability in a world where digital infrastructure is now a pawn in state-level chess games. Hamid Kashfi, a well-respected cybersecurity expert, summed up the collateral damage succinctly. Many Iranians turned to crypto out of necessity, not choice. Now their trust in digital alternatives has been shaken to the core. The mechanics of the attack were as striking as its symbolism. According to blockchain analytics firms like Chainalysis and Elliptic, the hackers drained hot wallets containing a range of cryptocurrencies. Rather than laundering the assets or selling them for personal gain, they sent them to so-called burn addresses. For example, on the Ethereum network, tokens were dispatched to the notorious 0xDead address, a digital graveyard where assets are forever locked away, never to be touched again. On Bitcoin, some wallets were rendered permanently unusable by exploiting invalid checksums. In total, at least 8 burn addresses were used, each one inscribed with inflammatory anti-IRGC slogans, some even containing explicit language. The attackers did not stop there. In a chilling move, they threatened to release the source code and internal infrastructure data of Nobitex itself. In the world of software, source code is the crown jewel. Leaking it could expose critical vulnerabilities, undermine competitive advantage, and potentially invite further attacks from copycats or rival groups. As the hackers posted on social media, "The walled garden will be without walls. Where do you want your assets to be?" The implication was clear. Trust in Nobitex was now a liability. Nobitex's response was swift, but in the eyes of many, insufficient to calm the panic. The exchange suspended operations, took its website offline, and announced that all external access to servers had been severed. Executives assured users that their assets were safe, protected by cold storage wallets and a robust insurance fund. They emphasized that no user funds would be lost, and that staff had quickly emptied remaining hot wallets as a precaution. Nevertheless, the reputational damage was done. The mere threat of source code exposure, combined with the public destruction of funds, ignited a mass exodus as users scrambled to withdraw what remained. From the perspective of financial regulators and experts, the Nobitex hack is a watershed moment. Andrew Fearman of Chainalysis commented, "This destructive attack shows how crypto infrastructure is becoming a new front in modern geopolitical conflict. The motive for stealing the $90+ million in funds is for other than financial gain." Tom Robinson at Elliptic echoed this, noting, "It's an act of sabotage by attacking a financial institution pivotal in Iran's use of cryptocurrency to evade sanctions." For ordinary Iranians, the impact is deeply personal and potentially devastating. Many had turned to cryptocurrency as a means of survival, especially as inflation soared and the country's currency, the rial, continued to depreciate. For some, crypto was a way to pay for essential imports, transfer savings abroad, or simply hedge against economic uncertainty. Navin Gupta, CEO at Crystal, put it plainly, "Another large-scale exchange breach, and once again, the real victims are everyday users who entrusted their funds to the platform they believed was secure." The ripple effects of the Nobitex breach extend far beyond Iran's borders. In the immediate aftermath, the Central Bank of Iran imposed new operational curfews on domestic crypto exchanges, limiting their hours of operation and signaling a move toward tighter government control. Internationally, bodies like the Financial Action Task Force are likely to use this incident as justification for stricter oversight of exchanges, especially those operating in jurisdictions with weak regulatory frameworks. The age of the so-called Wild West in crypto may be drawing to a close, as governments seek to clamp down on the use of digital assets for illicit finance, sanctions evasion, and geopolitical maneuvering. But what does this mean for the global crypto industry? Firstly, there is a risk of regulatory overreach. While tighter controls may prevent future attacks, they could also stifle innovation and drive legitimate users toward less transparent, more decentralized alternatives. Secondly, the attack highlights the urgent need for exchanges to adopt best-in-class cybersecurity measures. Navin Gupta notes that breaches rarely occur due to a single point of failure. Rather, they result from a combination of weak access controls, poor monitoring, and delayed response protocols. For exchanges to survive and thrive, they must invest in continuous security audits, employee training, and real-time threat detection. Looking ahead, several scenarios could play out. Iran, wounded and embarrassed, may seek to retaliate with its own cyber operations. Potential targets include Israeli banks, fintech companies, and even critical infrastructure such as electricity grids or water utilities. John Hultquist, threat intelligence lead at Google, cautions, "Predatory Sparrow is very serious and very capable. The danger now is that other actors on both sides may try to up the ante. The risk of escalation is real, and the global community must be alert to the possibility that cyber conflicts could spill over into the physical world." At the same time, the Nobitex incident may be a catalyst for positive change. The need for robust, multi-layered cybersecurity has never been clearer. Companies that can demonstrate superior security practices will attract users and partners alike. Governments, recognizing the importance of digital resilience, may pour resources into both defensive and offensive cyber capabilities. The attack also underscores the importance of transparency and crisis communication. Exchanges that quickly and honestly inform users of breaches are more likely to retain trust in the long run. For viewers like you, what are the practical lessons to take away from this unfolding drama? First, recognize that in today's interconnected world, no one is immune from geopolitical risk. If you store assets, crypto, stocks, or even basic savings, with a centralized provider, you are placing trust not only in their technology, but also in their governance, reputation, and ability to withstand external shocks. The Nobitex case is a sobering reminder that even the largest, most trusted platforms can become targets overnight. Second, diversify your risk. Relying solely on one exchange or custodian exposes you to single points of failure. Consider spreading your assets across multiple platforms, using hardware or cold wallets for long-term storage, and keeping abreast of security announcements from your providers. Remember that insurance pools and company guarantees, while reassuring, may not be sufficient in the face of systemic attacks or geopolitical crises. Third, anticipate that regulation is coming, and that it may be unevenly implemented across jurisdictions. While exchanges with strong compliance and security standards may be safer in the long run, they can also be slower and less flexible. Weigh the trade-offs, and always prioritize security over convenience when moving significant sums. Fourth, stay informed and engaged. Cybersecurity is not just a technical issue, it is increasingly a matter of national security, economic stability, and even personal freedom. Educate yourself about common attack vectors, such as phishing, credential theft, and malware. Use two-factor authentication whenever possible, and never share sensitive information over unsecured channels. Finally, be prepared for the unexpected. The Nobitex hack is a stark illustration that the digital battlefields of the 21st century are rapidly evolving. As new technologies emerge and state actors become more sophisticated, the stakes for individuals, companies, and nations will only rise. Today's burn of $90 million could be tomorrow's blackout, market crash, or even physical confrontation. Let's take a moment to put this incident in a broader historical perspective. Throughout history, new technologies have always been double-edged swords. The telegraph revolutionized communication but was soon used for espionage during wars. The advent of the internet brought unprecedented connectivity, and with it, new forms of crime and conflict. Cryptocurrency, once hailed as a tool for financial empowerment and freedom, is now at the center of global power struggles. The Nobitex hack is not an isolated event. Rather, it is a harbinger of a world where digital assets are both targets and weapons. We should also consider the indirect consequences. According to some estimates, the loss of confidence, business disruptions, and increased regulatory scrutiny resulting from the Nobitex hack could ultimately cost Iran's economy over $100 million. This is not just a matter of stolen crypto. It is about lost opportunities, diminished trust, and the chilling effect on innovation. For young entrepreneurs and technologists in Iran, the message is discouraging. Even the most promising ventures can be derailed by forces beyond their control. Yet, as with any crisis, there are opportunities. The demand for advanced cybersecurity solutions is set to skyrocket, not only in Iran, but globally. Firms that can offer cutting-edge protection for exchanges, wallets, and other digital infrastructure will be in high demand. At the same time, governments may collaborate more closely with private sector experts to bolster defenses and share intelligence. The digital arms race, once the domain of superpowers, is becoming democratized, open to anyone with the skills and determination to participate. For the crypto industry as a whole, the Nobitex incident is a wake-up call. It challenges the assumption that decentralized technologies are inherently immune to state-level interference. The reality is more nuanced. While blockchain networks themselves are resilient, the exchanges, wallets, and bridges that connect users to these networks remain vulnerable. Building a truly secure and trustworthy ecosystem will require ongoing vigilance, collaboration, and a willingness to learn from past failures. So, as we reflect on this extraordinary episode, let's return to the core question: what happens next? Will attacks like this destroy trust in digital finance, or will they force the industry to evolve and mature? The answer likely lies somewhere in between. Trust, once lost, is hard to regain, but it can be rebuilt through transparency, innovation, and a relentless focus on security. The crypto world has weathered countless storms before, from exchange hacks to regulatory crackdowns, and each time it has adapted, often emerging stronger and more resilient. But here is the secret truth that many miss. This attack was never about money. The hackers deliberately burned more than $90 million, not to enrich themselves, but to send a message. Crypto is no longer just a tool for individuals and businesses. It is now a lever in global power struggles, a new front in the ongoing battle between states, ideologies, and interests. As the lines between digital and physical conflict blur, every user, whether in Tehran, Tel Aviv, or New York, becomes part of this unfolding story. So, What do you think? Will events like the Nobitex hack destroy trust in crypto or force the industry to evolve and mature? Are you changing your own approach to digital assets in light of these risks? Drop your thoughts and questions in the comments below. If you found these insights valuable, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to understand where the future of digital finance is headed. Until next time, stay curious, stay secure,